have three Stratocasters here, a 1955, 1958, and a 1963. The Strat first appeared in 54, and the 54 model looked very much like this guitar here. Two-tone sunburst, ash body. The early pickup covers were plastic, sometimes called Bakelite, but it's, at any rate, it was a plastic that tended not to hold up as well as they had expected. So with playing wear, it would wear and crack, and we see here on the neck position and middle pickups that the pick wear has caused this to break off at the ends, and there's also cracks in it. The bridge position pickup has held up better simply because it didn't get as much pick wear. In fact, with the volume knob placed right here next to the bridge position pickup, you're not going to flail on it as much on this position. So this pickup cover is in better shape. But even the toggle switch tip has a small crack. The plastic just didn't hold up as well. And by the end of 56, they had gone to a different type plastic to avoid this problem. But the early knobs, switch tips, and pickup covers were fragile. The guitars otherwise were extremely well designed and play very, very well. The Strat pickup selector switch gives you bridge position pickup there, middle position pickup there, neck position there, and the way it was intended was just one pickup at a time. It doesn't have any option of giving these two pickups together, whereas most two pickup guitars have three tones, a switch position. You can get the bridge pickup, the neck pickup, or both. And a lot of players find both is a option they really like. For the Strat, Leo had intended them to be just three single pickup selections. But people found that if you put it right there in the middle, there's no click stop, but you can get it where these two are on together, or these two are on together, and they're out of phase and super twangy when they do that. And that gave 5 tones. But it wasn't until 1974 that Fender bowed to popular demand and just put a 5-position switch on where you had click stops that gave you these two and these two. Before that, you had to jiggle it until you got it. They never did come up with one to do these two together. Now, some other makers have done guitars that are modeled after Strats that will give you more switch positions, and some even have just done 3 on-off mini toggles where you can just turn each one on or off so that you can get any combination you want. You can get all 3, or you can get just these 2, or these 2, and these 2. So it could give you more tone combinations with 3 on-off switches. But still, the Fender Strat today is the most popular Fender, and very likely the most popular model electric guitar in the world today. And this is a design that harks right back to 1954. The aesthetics of the 54 model are essentially the same as the aesthetics of the new one. That is a design that has been remarkably versatile and has kept its appeal for so many years. And today, so many things we introduce are transitory. Computers, phones, iPads, you name it, all of these things have a short life before they're replaced with something more modern. Automotive designs of 1954, well, there's a few that still are considered highly collectible, but you won't see anybody making new automobiles today that are virtually identical to what they did in '54. All the new cars have numerous other features, not only in aesthetic design, but in functional work. The new cars have safety features and design features that were not dreamed of in '54. But for the electric guitar today, it is still remarkably rooted in history. And we are still using pickup designs and switch systems that on most of the electrics popular today harks straight back to the 1950s. In fact, if you look at things like a 1959 Les Paul Gibson Sunburst Standard, it has every single bell and whistle of the new one. The Strat has been modified a little bit over the years, but still basically only a little. The custom shop Fenders that bring some of the highest prices are instruments that most closely resemble the ones of the 50s. They may be upgraded to have a 5-position switch, but they don't have much else that is truly a new feature. The Strat is an incredibly well-designed guitar. The tremolo system on the Strat is still popular. The strings going into a metal sustain block. And virtually everything about a Strat still is virtually the same now. By late '58, they went from 2-tone sunburst to 3, and this one here is a 58. So this is one of the earliest ones to have 3-tone sunburst rather than 2. The pickup covers have not deteriorated because it has the later plastic. But essentially, there's remarkably little change in the design of this 58 model versus this 55 model, and virtually no change from 54 through 55. For this guitar looks essentially like the earliest Stratocasters. By late '59, Fender introduced rosewood fingerboards. This is a '63 model. The earliest rosewood boards were thick slab, and the later ones, like this, have a curved rosewood veneer. It's not as thick, and it's curved on the bottom with the same radius as the fingerboard. But essentially, this is still very much the same as the earlier Strat, except that the truss rod here can be installed from the top before the fingerboard is installed, whereas on the earlier ones there is no fingerboard. It's a maple neck that is fretted, and the truss rod is installed from the rear, and this walnut back stripe fills that truss rod route. So that is done from the back, whereas once they put on the rosewood boards, they did it from the front, and there is no need, therefore, for the back stripe. This one's been played plenty, but it still shows that the basic design of the Stratocaster did endure. This has the 3-ply greenish-white pickguard, whereas the earlier ones had a single-ply white guard. But again, these are subtle changes that have taken place over the years, but the playability and sound of the Stratocaster was certainly every bit as good when these were made as when this was made. There are subtle differences, but the differences are indeed subtle. The basic design remained the same, and it was a truly inspired design from day one. The body shape is not only the exterior outline, but also is a contoured body. So it is scooped to be ergonomically comfortable to hold. So this doesn't stick into your ribs. When you press it against the body, it just fits right in. And this is in contrast to the Telecaster that has more squared off edges and a flat back and a flat top. So it's not just these curves, but it's every curve, because these bodies are contoured for comfort. And that is a concept introduced in '54, first on the Stratocaster, and then followed very shortly thereafter on the Fender Precision bass, which also then received a contoured body. How much of this came straight from Leo, and how much of that concept came from people like Freddie Tavares and Bill Carson is a bit obscure, and all three of them are dead, so we can't ask them. But the fact is, I'm confident that these design concepts did not come only from Leo, but that it was a team effort. And Leo got a lot of input from many fine musicians. He was a good listener as well as a good designer.